I'm Matt Hayes. I haven't got much in common with Barbara Kiewski, really. She's German and I'm English. She's a girl, I'm a boy. She's quite young and I'm, I suppose, a bit oldish. But we both share a passion for fishing. And that's why we've decided to go on the ultimate fishing road trip together to Ontario. Our Ontario adventure has brought us here to Thunder Bay, a major Canadian city located on the shores of Lake Superior. Of course, we are here for the fishing, and this area is pretty famous for one species of fish that's long been on my bucket list. It's a species called the brook trout. Lake Superior is truly spectacular. It is the largest freshwater lake on the whole planet, and it's a sobering thought that it actually contains 10% of the Earth's fresh water. This amazing place is Fort William. Not the one in Scotland, obviously, although there are some tenuous connections. But actually, this place is the inland headquarters of the North West Company, one of the oldest companies in Canada and a very important fur trading organisation. The sad thing about this wonderful place is that it was actually levelled by the railway company, so it's been faithfully restored using, of course, the foundations that were dug up, paintings from the time and various artefacts. And the end result is a wonderful piece of living history. And the most important thing about Fort William is that it's very strategically located. Bonjour. Fascinating. Is it okay if I pick it up?
Absolutely.
It's actually not as heavy as I thought.
Exactly, yes. Very nice lightweight gun. Very good for hunting at this period.
So this would be authentic to what kind of time period?
Early 1800s. Very good for hunting in the North American interior at that time.
Fort William wasn't sited by accident. You see, it's the perfect place to intercept goods coming from two directions. From the east, i.e. Europe, through Montreal, goods were brought in here. And then you also had the native trappers bringing in furs from the west. So that's how the trading actually took place. But this was a huge operation. And it's interesting to note that all of this movement of goods was done by water. In actual fact, the complete passage from the east to the west coast of Canada took 300 years when Alexander Mackenzie finally broke through and saw the Pacific in 1793. Amazing. Now, most of the canoes that were used to transport the goods were actually built here. And the building of canoes was a completely unfamiliar process to the voyageurs. And they were taught how to make canoes by the Native Americans, the Aboriginals, who'd been making these for a very, very long time indeed. They're beautifully constructed, these things, and they're actually made from a whole mixture of natural materials. For example, the hull is made from birch. And then if you actually look at these sections here, these are actually made from spruce. Inside, the ribbing was made from cedar wood. And to make the whole thing waterproof, they used pitch. And the construction is just fabulous. They could, of course, carry very, very heavy loads. The biggest canoes that were used in this operation could carry literally tons of material. And it's also worth bearing in mind that basically the goods were packed into packages weighing around 90 pounds. And it wasn't unusual for a voyageur to carry 2 packs on his back at the same time. Then they'd be loaded into the canoes and either shipped in or shipped out. Amazing. So while I've been doing this little historical detour, Babs has actually been out fishing. I wonder how she's getting on.
Hi, you must be Sandro.
Yes, I am. Hi, Babs.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Welcome to Thunder Bay.
Thank you.
How's your trip been?
Very good. This is my first day here on the Thunder Bay.
But you just got here now?
Hmm.
So have you caught any big walleyes on your adventure?
No, not
You
yet.
haven't caught any walleyes yet?
A small one, yes, a lot of small ones, but not so big. Hopefully we catch together one big
Well,
one.
we'll give it a whirl anyway.
Are you in water? Perfect. We fish 2 rods behind the boat. We troll the rods and we fish crankbaits, repeller lures. They hit a little bit the ground, and this noise and their fish are very interesting in it. I hope we catch some walleyes or maybe another fish. Oh, got one! You got one!
Here. There you go. Here, Babs.
All right, the first fish. We fish only 5 minutes, or not? No, 2 minutes. Trolling is the best.
Okay.
A little bit.
Okay.
Oh, great!
That's a beautiful fish too.
Wow, amazing!
Okay.
All right, I bring.
You bring this way.
Great!
Nice job. Check that out.
Salmon. Look at that beautiful fish. We tried to catch walleye and we caught a salmon. That's a good start.
Yes.
Oh, we saved the dinner for tonight. That's great. Matt will be really happy with that. Hopefully. So we caught no walleye yet. I changed my lure more to a natural color. Hopefully it works better. Oh, got one, got one, got one. Fish on. Yeah, it's on. Oh, look at there. It's a walleye. Yay! All right. I'm really, really happy because it was the last chance and we have only 5 minutes when we go to the harbor. And now I have always lucky. I'm so lucky, really, really lucky. All right, here we go. You have a, oh, look at that beautiful walleye. Oh, the fins are very special. White on the end. You see that? Great. I'm really, really happy about this fish. Sandro, thank you really much. I enjoy this trip so much.
I'm glad you came out.
I'm leave them back in the water. It's okay?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Walleye. You come back in the water now. Yay!
Sure. Good job.
I love fishing.
Yeah, me too. It's a sickness. It's a bad drug, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I love it. Oh, thanks a lot for this great 2 hours. I
worries.
enjoy every minute. Give
That's
me
awesome. Absolutely.
Well, Barbara, welcome to Red Rock, located on the Nipigon River. And this area is particularly famous for one species of fish that's highly prized in the world of angling, and it's called the brook trout. Now, Wild brook trout are actually very, very rare, but this is the mecca for them. And in actual fact, 100 years ago, on July the 21st, 1915, Dr. Cook caught a 14-pound plus brook trout, and it's still the world record today. So for me, I know that the muskie was your big deal, but for me, the holy grail of this trip is this brook trout. Catch one on a fly. That's what I really want to do, and I don't think there's a finer place to do it.
Okay. Dr. Hook cooked the brook trout.
No, not Dr. Hook, Dr. Cook.
Dr. Hook, Dr. Cook.
No, not when you're in love with a beautiful woman. Well, it really is a glorious day today, and for me a very special one. I'm here on the Nipigon River system with local expert Gord Ellis, and he's going to take me to one of his favourite spots about half an hour up the Nipigon system, and we're fishing for what for me is a personal landmark. It's a bucket list fish for sure, and it's the one that in the whole journey is probably the most iconic. It's the brook trout. It's not the biggest fish that you'll see in Canada, but it's arguably the most beautiful. And actually, if you want to be accurate, it's not even a trout at all. It's part of the char family, and I have long coveted catching a brook trout on the fly. It has to be the fly. So I've brought in the best guy in the business to help me. So you're going to go with one of the flies that I brought with me, or?
This is one that I like to use, conehead streamer.
Oh, I knew you were going to go for that. I saw it hanging in the truck. Something very nice about that. So it's a rabbit strip, white streamer, a few rubber legs on it.
Yep.
Give it a bit more movement. That's a nice fly.
Looks a little like a smelt. Okay, Matt, we're going to go about 25 minutes up the river to Virgin Falls.
Great.
So Matt, this spot here where we are right now, before the dam went in, there was a 30 to 40 foot falls called Virgin Falls, which was the hot spot on the Nipigon River, and it's actually also where the muddler minnow was first tied.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for those that don't know, the muddler minnow is one of the world's iconic fishing flies, and it originates here. But it's hard to imagine, isn't it, now, a 30-foot waterfall, a boulder-strewn, massively fast-flowing river, and then the damming took place in, was it 56?
1956, yeah. So this is just really the last vestiges of the current here, but the brook trout's still holding it.
So they tamed the river, but they didn't tame the fish.
No, they are still wild.
That's good.
So Matt, are you feeling expectant about being here?
Yeah, I'm always a little bit nervous when I'm filming because there is pressure, you know, to produce the fish for the camera. But I can tell you this, if I was a tourist on a day out with you up here, I would be hardly able to contain myself. But yeah, I've got that tingle, you know, the butterflies in the stomach, and this fish is just, if I had to pick one fish on the trip that I really want to catch, it is a brook trout, so no pressure.
Well, let's go do it.
Well, my first impressions are that this is a really interesting and exciting place to fish. There's a lot of conflicting currents here which make the presentation of the fly not so easy, but certainly not impossible. And you know, every time that white fly swings around in the current, you can see it from up here. It's really exciting because at any minute I'm expecting this beautiful fish to come out and grab it, but it almost seems too much to ask. When you want something so much, you know, and you put so much into it, so much thought power, and you wish for something to that extent, you know, there's part of you thinks, oh, it's never going to happen, but let's see.
So Matt, we're just going to slip through the tail out of this long run, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold the boat, and you just swing that fly through that little bar area. There's some stumps and some rocks down there, and often there's a fish set up there, sometimes on the shallow side, sometimes on the slightly deeper side.
Up in front of us, right at the end of the world there, because that's what it looks like, all the land masses stop. That's Lake Nipigon, and it's 120 kilometres across. That's amazing, isn't it? Amazing. That's like driving from my house to London. This is a slightly different area here, where we've got a reef out just off the left-hand side of the boat there. And Gord's saying that the fish here behave slightly differently because they're hunting a lot of insect larvae in among the rocks. And so they'll follow the fly a lot without taking it. We've got to keep an eye on it at all times. If we see a follower, try and tease it into taking. And it's really interesting, within these huge systems, you get different strains of fish that behave in different ways. These fish were feeding more on insect larvae, whereas the fish up on the break there are probably more used to taking other fish. So the behaviour is slightly different and you've got to adapt to it. Oh yeah, got him, yeah. Oh, that was a heck of a hit. Whoa. Right over where God said there'd be a fish. Big rock underneath the surface of the water, and there it was. Oh, he's come off. Ah, couldn't get tight on him. That was a big fish.
He was right there, wasn't he?
Oh yeah. I mean, to be honest, it wasn't the best cast I made all day, and you know, the fish just hit it right at the end of the strip.
It looked like you hit bottom. That's how tight your line was.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I really should have taken my chance. You know, Gord put me over a rock that he said would hold a big fish. It did. It took my fly, and I gave it some slack line, trying to get the line back on the reel, and with a barbless hook, that's fatal. It just literally came off. Was that the only chance I'm going to get? I don't know, but it kind of feels like it right now. This is really quite brutal fishing. These are big flies for the weight of rod I'm using. It's a windy day. These are very air resistant, and it's hard work just casting them. And you fish for just one chance normally, and maybe that was mine. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, I've hooked a fish, and I think it could be a brook trout. It looks like a nice fish. He came for the fly twice. I just pitched it into the cover, and it was the first really good cast I felt I'd made, where I got the whole presentation perfect. And now I've got a fish on.
Beautiful. Good job, bud. Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Oh yeah, look at that.
It's a beauty.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Ah, this is a barbless hook. Oh, now he's smoking some line. Go, baby, go! But please don't come off. Oh, my knees are knocking. This doesn't happen to me very often these days. I've caught a lot of fish all around the planet, but oh, please don't come off. This is a big, beautiful fish. Oh man, look at it.
Beauty.
I've got to keep the pressure on it because it's a barbless hook now, and if I give it slack line, it will get off. Oh man, it's smoking some. Oh, cricket, go now! Whoa! Wow, it just took about 20-25 metres off in one real high octane burst there. And really only a game fish can do this, and that's the whole point of sport fishing, is that some fish are fun to catch, but they grub around on the bottom and snuffle up bait, and others, well, they're turbocharged. Here she comes, she's coming up to the net now. Yes! Woohoo!
Good
Well,
job.
I can't believe it.
Good job.
Got one!
That is awesome. That is so awesome. That's a, I'm gonna say 20, 21 incher.
That's nice. Beautiful, beautiful fish. Well, I'm going to put this glove on, which has been soaked in water. That's the kindest thing for the fish. It doesn't do any damage to its scales, and it's wet contacting wet. Really nice idea. The fish is actually in this aerated live well, which is a great idea because he's going to get all the oxygen he needs in there. He's pretty lively. If I can just grab his tail here, let's just have a look at this lad. Now, this is a brook trout, but actually it's a member of the char family. This is actually a char, and char are distributed throughout the northern hemisphere. They love cold water, so you'll find them all the way up into the Arctic Circle, but it is just exquisite. Like all salmonoid fishes, it has beautiful body profile, but look at the markings. It's almost like marble on its back that's just shot through with these dark squiggly lines, giving way to just beautiful spots, a mixture of yellow and orange. There's blue with yellow inside with some of these larger spots. It's just exquisite. And for me, this fish is a dream come true. I love char. And you know, you'll see the big fish in this series. For Babs, her dream was the big crocodile-like muskie. And you might think it's strange that I would favour a fish like this any day of the week over one of the really big predators. And it's just because they're so beautiful. And the correct way to catch this fish for me, the respectful way, the most skillful way, is to catch it on a fly. That is the perfect capture. And that's exactly what I've done. This is my dream come true on this trip. There she goes, and that's the best moment of all, seeing the fish go back like that. It's hard for me to describe how I feel right now. To catch such a beautiful fish on the most difficult and beautiful technique on the fly, it does mean so much to me. And I know I could catch more if I was spin fishing or using a jig, and I don't decry people who choose to fish that way. It's just that for me, if I'd caught that fish on any other method, it wouldn't have felt right. It would have been like getting in the bath with your socks on. It works, but it's just not quite right. And I don't know, call me a purist, call me romantic, whatever you like. I don't really care right now. And I've got to thank this man over here. Oh, Gord, I can't tell you how I feel. I've fished all over the world, and I've fished for everything from sticklebacks to the biggest of the lot, marlin, sharks, you name it. That was a very, very special fish, and it was an important moment for me.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah,
it really was.
Great for me.
Awesome.
Thanks, mate. Really appreciate it. It's a lovely place, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
I really like this fishing lodge. But we're going to leave it behind now, because today I'm going to take a little detour. I'm going into Thunder Bay. I've got to buy some fly tying materials for a little surprise I've got planned for you later on. Meanwhile, Barbara has got the best draw today because she is going out fishing to catch her first wild brook trout with Gord Ellis. So hopefully we'll both have a good day. Well, here I am in a lovely quiet corner of Thunder Bay, overlooking the awe-inspiring Lake Superior, a body of water that will just blow your mind when you consider its dimensions. If you're an angler or anyone with an interest in water, this is the daddy of them all. It's the biggest of the Great Lakes. It spans both the Canadian and the US shorelines, and it's actually the biggest lake in the world. How big? Absolutely huge. This is not so much a lake as an inland sea. You could drop the country of Wales into Lake Superior over 3 times, and you could comfortably drop in Ireland That's absolutely amazing. And as you'd expect, it's got a very diverse and large population of fishes. Everything from tiny little sculpins and smelts all the way up to the bigger apex predators like pike and walleye. It's even got its own population of salmon within its system, over 70 different species in total. The city of Thunder Bay was founded in 1970, and it was the merging of two towns, Fort William and Port Arthur. So where did the name come from? It's actually quite interesting that when this place was founded, the residents were given the opportunity to vote on a name, and the choices they were given were Lakehead, The Lakehead and Thunder Bay. Which one would you choose? It's obvious, isn't it? So the city of Thunder Bay is founded in 1970, but let's not forget this has been a settlement for over 8,000 years, and a place that's been heavily reliant on resources. You can see the evidence of that on the lake today with the huge container ships that still work there. But Thunder Bay, like many modern cities, is having to reinvent itself. And the way it's doing it is very, very clever, because Thunder Bay is emerging as the gateway to wilderness experiences. There are over 150,000 lakes and streams accessible from Thunder Bay. So it's a great hub to explore the surrounding area. And as a fishing community, we can be very proud of the fact that our tourism money is not only protecting the fish, it's also protecting an amazing habitat.
Okay, Gord, what's the plan for this place?
Okay, well, this place is called Split Rock, and it's a really famous part of the Nipigon River, known for big brook trout. So what we're going to do here is we're fishing current along these really steep rock edges, and what we have is these really nice bucktail flies that look like a smelt or a stickleback, sort of like a fly streamer, but it has a jig head, so you can fish it with spinning gear.
Cool.
And what we're going to do is we're going to cast it up against the current. So cast it out, and then you just let it sink a little bit, and then you work it back very slowly. You don't have to do a lot of jigging, and let it go with the current.
Not on the ground?
Not on the bottom, so not like you're jigging for walleye or jigging for pike. You're letting it swim with the current like it's a smelt or a minnow. And when you get a hit, it's going to be really hard.
So you will feel the bite.
You will feel the bite. There'll be no nibbles. Sometimes you'll feel them sort of, they're like picking at the feathers, but just keep reeling it.
Okay.
And feel for when you get that hard hit, set the hook, and hopefully we'll get a nice big brook trout.
Oh, cool. So maybe we can have a small competition.
If you want to do that, I'm okay with that. My priority for you is to get you on a Nipigon brook trout. But if you want to have a little competition, I'm okay with that.
The first cast is always the best. I hope I do it right. I feel very good this day. I woke up with a good feeling to fish on a place like this. It's so wonderful and amazing, and I'm really confident. I'm sure we will see fish today.
So this is my home water, Bab, so I'm going to give you a bit of a head start. But once you get your first brook trout, then gloves are off.
At the moment, I enjoy more the wilderness than the fishing. It's not so often. Wow. How many fish did you catch here?
I've caught hundreds of brook trout here over the years.
Hundreds, wow. And how long did you fish here?
I've fished these waters for about 30 years, so quite a long time.
And did you release every fish?
I do. All the brook trout here are wild, and I've let them go mostly for the last 20 years. You are allowed to keep one fish if it's over 22 inches, but I don't personally. I just can't bring myself to do it because they're just so gorgeous. There's just not very many places where you can catch brook trout like this.
I agree with you, yeah. We are here behind the Pine Portage Dam and the Nipigon River. It's really dangerous because the water flows very hard. Oh, we must watch out, don't fall in the water. I wear a life vest. Safety first. Wait. Got one, got one, I got one! Yeah! Oh. Oh, did you see that? Oh, it's. Yeah, one. Oh, you kill me, baby. Give him a little bit time. My heart. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, God. Yes, 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 yes. All right.
Oh, that's a good one.
Look at that amazing
That is
fish.
You can see the beautiful red fins this fish has and the orange belly, very indicative of a Nipigon brook trout, red fin. And then I just love the vermiculations, those worm-like things on its back, and the halos, you know, with the red and the purple around them, the double halos, which the Nipigon fish have. And this is a really deep fish too, Babs. It's just a gorgeous specimen of a Nipigon brook trout. Congratulations.
Oh,
awesome.
thank you. I'm really, really, really happy now. Great.
Well, Barbara, you caught your first brook trout, wild brook trout today on the Nipigon River system. And I'll make you a bet that the reason that this system has got such fantastically well-conditioned fish is because they're feeding predominantly on one food source, and that is a thing called a sculpin. Now, in the UK, we call it a bullhead. It's a small fish that lives among the stones on the bed of the river, and trout, brook trout, char, love to eat sculpins. Now, quite a long time ago, back in the 1930s, a guy called Don Gapin tried to imitate one of these species by tying a fly called the muddler minnow. It's a classic, a timeless classic, and it was inspired by fishing on the Nipigon River. And what Don came up with was a classic bait fish pattern, which he called a minnow, but actually, when you see it, resembles a sculpin or a bullhead a lot more. And in celebration of that fact, I'm going to tie one right now. Oh, I've got a fish on it. It's just hit the fly on the surface next to the boat. I've never seen anything like it. I just dropped the fly in the water and a fish came up and took it.
We don't start fishing really, so.
No, I put the fly over the side, get ready to make a cast, and a really big fish just came up and took it. But I'm struggling to get it off the bottom. What do you think of that, Babs? Here it comes. Look, look, and it is a brook trout.
It is a brook trout, yeah.
Well, I was just about to introduce exactly where we are, and we were getting ready to fish. Babs was taking a few pictures. I flopped the fly over the side of the boat, and the next thing you know, bang, a fish took it right off the top. And this fish is fighting really hard. This is a really, really fluky fish. I don't think I've ever caught a fish as difficult to catch as these fish normally are like that. It's a one in several hundred trips event, and I've got to say I claim very little credit for it. In fact, Gord chose the fly, so the credit should go to him, actually.
Yeah, it's in the net.
Well done, Babs.
Oh, great.
What a start to the day.
What is
That is just nuts. Honestly, I am gobsmacked. It's a really beautiful brook trout. This fish is one of the hardest fish to catch in the world, and it just came up and ate my fly off the surface. I'm not going to argue. What a beautiful fish.
Nice
It's
fish.
a fat one, really fat
Nice
fish.
fish.
the male.
They're biting today.
We're going to put this fish in the live well. Right, now we're in the calm water. I'll take the fish out.
Whoop.
He really wanted the fly, he just took it perfectly. Beautiful fat fish. There, put him in. Well, now I guess I can do what I was going to do before that fish interrupted us, which is basically to tell you that Babs and I still fishing on the Nipigon River. We've got one last short session with Gord before we have to move on in this trip, and we're going up to a place called Lodge 88. We're fishing another wonderful wilderness lake, but before we went we just couldn't resist having a last go at these brook trout, and based on what's just happened, I'm really glad we did. Shall we have a look at this fish, because it is amazing? Okay, well, we're going to put the glove on. It's very kind to the fish because this fabric here helps me grip the tail, but because it's wet it doesn't damage the fish. If Michael Jackson was a fisherman, he would have a glove like this. Come on then, Shimona! Ah, there she is. See, now with the glove I can just grip the tail but not damage the fish. Well, it's pretty lively. And that is a magnificent bull trout, really, really deep. Can you just tell me what colours you can see? Because I'm colourblind slightly, and you're
So
better than me.
First, this is a male because you can see it on the orange, red down here, and I have red points with purple around there, and this here is really, really beautiful. Looks a little bit like a tiger fish because they have black lines and it's a little bit of brown. So yeah, really lovely, beautiful fish.
Yeah, well described. They are beautiful, aren't they?
So I will fish today with my soft lures with not so heavy weight, because Matt is using his fly, and I think it's good when we fish different techniques and lures. But I'm really, really, really happy with Matt. He had 3 bites now and 1 fish. It's a really great start. nearly I go really angry because I lost so many lures in the water, and I can cast here only behind the boat, and but I try to think positive. Maybe I will eat a banana, a lucky sign for me.
Girl.
And then I will change my lure to maybe a spoon and try again. Try again, never give up.
I totally understand how Babs is feeling, because as a fisherman, we all go through these phases where everything's right with the world, everything seems great, everything seems to work, and then, you know, 10 minutes later, it's like your whole world has come apart, and then you start to question what you're doing, you start to question your own ability, your confidence goes down, and, you know, fishing's like that. It is, for me, it is an emotional experience. I think for Babs, it's like she'll come through this and start catching fish. She's a good fisher lady. She's proved that already, and things will come together for her. Something will click, and then everything will be right with the world again. That's just how it is.
So I try different lures to find out which lure runs better. I try soft lures, spoons, feeder jig, and now hard baits. And it's only one piece of wood here in this water, and I hooked them. Not my day today, really. I'm happy now because I have my German fly back now.
There's another fish there. I've lost several fish today with the fish coming off on the twisting currents. They shake their heads, and with these barbless hooks, that's the problem. They just shake the hook out, but I'm keeping the line as tight as a bowstring here.
Got it! Super duper!
Great day. Real red letter day, I think.
Matt, here's your lovely fish.
Yeah, not as big as my first one, but a nice fish, and a male. Look at this, he's getting his spawning colours. Let's put the glove over his eyes. That'll calm him down a little bit before I put it on. Look at this. You can tell by the red belly that this is a male fish in his pre-spawning colours. And he really did whack that fly. Beautiful, beautiful fish. I'm going to put this one straight back.
Great.
Wait, oh, couldn't even hang on to him there, but he's gone. Well, it wasn't a very ceremonious release, but what an amazing day. I think, you know, for me, the presentation side of the fishing here, the technical side of it, is really right up there. It's about as tough as it gets. Maybe dry fly fishing for these fish would be the next rung up, but you can only do that when you get a big hatch of flies. Other than that, it's technical fishing. Twisting, turning currents, long casts, really difficult. But the gods have smiled on me today. They have, you know, and you've had a bit of a nightmare, I know, and that happens.
Yeah, good
But I'm
job.
glad you saw it. I'm glad you shared it with me, Babs.
Yeah,
you know.
good job. Well done. I'm very proud of you. You catched the 2 fish today, and you have a lot of hooks and bites. So
Yeah.
good day for you.
Yeah, it was my day today.
Yeah, it is.
But it'll be yours the next time. Well, for me, this wild brook trout fishing has been the highlight of the journey so far. Really technical fishing and great fun when you get it right. But you know, the journey continues, and who knows what adventures await us at the next place. We're zipping back down the Nipigon system now at high speed, and at the other end we've got a 4-hour drive followed by another short flight on a float plane before landing at another wilderness lodge. I don't know what's going to happen there, but I can tell you this, I'm really looking forward to it.
Our days at Nipigon River were very special. Since I was a young girl, I've wanted to see the northern lights. And as darkness fell, the aurora lit up the skies over Lake Superior. The light danced all night, and I didn't want the evening to end. Then came the fishing. It was incredible to land my first ever brook trout, and it put up a crazy fight as I tried to get it into the boat. Thanks Nipigon River, and thanks to Gord Ellis.